$1.6 billion went to dead people, and the checks were cashed. Obviously fraud. OMB has estimated that in fiscal year 2023, we sent out $1.3 billion of checks to dead people, which were cashed. Obviously fraud. When you die in America, your name is sent to the Social Security Administration. As you know, you become part of the master death file. Senator Carper and I discovered that Social Security would not share that information with any other department of government. Will you help us make that program permanent so we can stop paying dead people?
Yes, Senator.
Now, you've served in Washington for years. You're going to be challenging the status quo. You're going to be called crazy. Many people also called Noah crazy. And then the rains came, and all the fact checkers died. You have to persevere. Now, I'm not asking you to get ahead of President Trump. But if you were king for a day, tell me how you would save money in the federal budget without impacting the American people.
Patriots, you're going to want to sit down for this one, because what I'm about to tell you is enough to make any red-blooded American scream in frustration. Your hard-earned tax dollars, money you worked for, sweated for, money pulled straight out of your paycheck every month, are being sent to dead people. That's not hyperbole. That's not exaggeration. That's not satire. It's a stone-cold fact. Welcome back to Right View Nation, the channel where we say the quiet part out loud and we don't sugarcoat the truth. And today, we're calling out the absolute criminal incompetence, or should I say corruption, at the very heart of Joe Biden's bloated, unaccountable, socialist-style government. Senator John Kennedy, God bless this man, is once again exposing the insanity that is the federal budget. Under President Trump, we saw historic tax cuts, economic growth, and accountability. And now, we have 2% population growth and 55% spending growth. You heard that right. 55%. Under Biden, if we discovered alien life on Mars, he'd probably send them foreign aid too. And the cherry on top? We sent out $1.6 billion in stimulus checks to the dead. And those checks were cashed. In 2023, another $1.3 billion went to corpses. And yep, those got cashed too. Now let me ask you, America, who's cashing checks for the dead? And where is the oversight? Spoiler alert, there isn't any. Because Washington bureaucrats are too busy patting themselves on the back and throwing lavish parties to care where your money is going. Now here's where it gets even more disgusting.
Senator Kennedy.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Vogt, welcome.
Thank you, Senator.
In my judgment, I do not know a single person in Washington or outside Washington who knows more about the federal budget than you do. I used to read your suggestions during President Trump's first term, many of which Congress ignored. We shouldn't have. I am delighted that the president picked you. I have read that since 2019, the population of America has increased 2%, and our spending has increased 55%. Under President Biden, I wish him well. If we had discovered life on Mars, he would have sent it money. Is that sustainable?
Senator, it's totally unsustainable, and the problem is that you go on these trajectories that we are currently on, and you don't know when you're going to get to the point in which you have some major problems as an economy and as a country, and we know that historically.
I hope you'll start with the low-hanging fruit. There's a lot. When we sent out stimulus checks to save our economy, $1.6 billion went to dead people. And the checks were cashed, obviously fraud. OMB has estimated that in fiscal year 2023, we sent out $1.3 billion of checks to dead people, which were cashed, obviously fraud. When you die in America, your name is sent to the Social Security Administration. As you know, you become part of the master death file. Senator Carper and I discovered that Social Security would not share that information with any other department of government. So we passed a bill saying you have to share it with Treasury and other people who write checks, so we'll stop paying dead people. Duh. We got pushback, believe it or not, on the bill. We had to agree to a trial period, and that trial period ends in 2026. Will you help us make that program permanent so we can stop paying dead people?
Yes, Senator.
Now, you've served in Washington for years. You're going to be challenging the status quo. You're going to be called crazy. Many people also called Noah crazy. And then the rains came, and all the fact checkers died. You have to persevere. Now, I'm not asking you to get ahead of President Trump. But if you were king for a day, tell me how you would save money in the federal budget without impacting the American people.
Thank you, Senator. I think it's the strategy that we had in the first term, which is to go really and take a very close look at the agencies that are spending and wasting money, and I believe weaponized at times against the American people. When they put a 77-year-old Navy veteran in jail, Joe Robertson, for 18 months for building 4 ponds on his ranch to be prepared for wildfires, that's the EPA. I think we have to look at that, and we have to look at the agencies that Congress has a vote on every single year through the appropriations process. And then I think we need to go after the mandatory programs that Senator Cornyn mentioned that are keeping people out of the workforce because they have become not just a social safety net, but they have become a benefit hammock, and increasingly so in the aftermath of COVID, as many of these policies were impacting people's decisions to go back into the workforce. And I believe, and because we produced budgets along these lines, you can get sizable levels of savings and reforms that can lead to a balanced budget and get us back headed in a fiscal trajectory, not only that we would all be proud of, but we could say, this is going to keep us from fiscal ruin.
My time's expired. Ella Porter, do you have anything you'd like to add? Okay. Now's your shot. Thank you, Mr. Vogt, for your time.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Good call there, young lady.
There's a system, yes, a working, reliable system, that tracks when people die. It's called the Master Death File. The Social Security Administration updates it every time someone passes away. So you'd think that would be shared with the Treasury Department and every government agency handing out checks, right? Wrong. The Social Security Administration refused to share it. They knew. They had the data, but they kept it to themselves. Why? Because plugging the holes means shrinking the swamp, and nobody in that swamp wants the feeding frenzy to end. Senator Kennedy co-authored a bill to force interagency cooperation, to stop mailing cash to the cemetery. And they fought him. Washington actually pushed back on stopping fraud. You can't make this up. Instead of immediately fixing the issue, they implemented a ridiculous trial period that won't even end until 2026. So we're supposed to just sit here and watch billions evaporate while they test the waters. No, not on our watch. Enter Russell Vought, President Trump's pick for budget director and one of the smartest fiscal minds in Washington. When asked what he'd do if he were king for a day, his answer was simple and brilliant. Cut the waste. Look at the agencies burning through our money. Start with the ones we vote on every year. The alphabet soup of unelected bureaucrats weaponizing the federal government against the American people. You want proof? Here's some. The EPA, the so-called Environmental Protection Agency, put a 77-year-old Navy veteran in jail for building 4 ponds on his own land to prepare for wildfires. That's the government Biden wants. One that punishes patriots and throws old veterans in prison for managing their own property. Meanwhile, the border is wide open. Illegals are pouring in, getting benefits we paid for, and nobody in the administration bats an eye. And then there's the welfare system. Once a safety net, now a benefit hammock. Post-COVID, this government paid people to stay home. And guess what? They're still doing it. Folks aren't going back to work because it's easier to stay on the dole. Why break a sweat when the government mails you checks for sitting on your couch? This is not the America we fought for. This is not the America our founding fathers built. And this is not the America we're going to allow to be destroyed. So what do we do about it? First, we need to wake people up. Because if the American people knew the truth, there would be a revolt against this disgusting abuse of power and money. Second, we need real conservative leadership. No more rhinos. No more compromise. We need warriors, fighters like Kennedy and Vought, who aren't afraid to take a blowtorch to the corrupt establishment. Third, we need to take back Congress, take back the White House, and take back our country from the hands of the globalist elites and government freeloaders who treat your paycheck like monopoly money. Because let's be honest, Washington isn't broken. It's working exactly how the swamp designed it to: suck the middle class dry, enrich the elite, and silence anyone who dares expose the truth. If you're tired of being robbed blind by your own government, if you're sick of seeing patriotic Americans punished while the corrupt thrive, if you believe in accountability, liberty, and truth, then this is your fight. Like this video. Share it with every American who still believes in the Constitution. Subscribe to Right View Nation, because we're not backing down and we're not playing nice. This is our country. It's time we took it back. God bless you, and God bless the United States of America.